It's easy to get caught up in the idea of home ownership, but there are additional costs that aren't necessarily conveyed as you're going through the home loan part of the process. And that's what I'm going to share with you today because I do think it's important. Look, I am all about home ownership and believe in it and know that it's truly how we build wealth in this country and has been for many, many years. That said, it's important to be realistic about all of the associated costs, not just when you're acquiring the property, but things that come up after you have purchased the property. So here goes. When we think about home ownership expenses, first, if you are going to be using financing, then you will have the home loan payment. You want to evaluate and know whether that home loan payment is going to include items such as your homeowner's insurance, your property taxes. Home loans, depending on your down payment and the loan type, would allow you to include those things. So you have one lump sum payment that you're sending to the lender. But many people opt to pay their property taxes and their homeowner's insurance outside of the home loan payment. And if you're doing a conventional loan and putting at least 20% down, then you would have that option. But know that property taxes, homeowner's insurance, and a homeowner association are all associated expenses with home ownership. Also, keep in mind that the point in time that you acquire the property, you close on your home loan, the property taxes are based on what the actual property taxes are, unless you are purchasing a new build. If you're purchasing new construction, then the lender is going to estimate what the property taxes will be. But once those taxes are actually assessed, and every county is going to assess them in a different time frame, but once they are assessed, then your payment will be restructured based on the actual property taxes, not just the estimate. But that's only for new build. If it's a resale home where property taxes have already been assessed, then the property tax amount is the amount that the lender is going to escrow or that you will be paying outside of escrow. Note, property taxes can go up or down. So when we think about why our payment or expenses could change year over year, taxes and homeowner's insurance. Now, you may realize or be following across all of the media channels that homeowner's insurance costs have seem to increase. And it almost feels like it doesn't matter what state you're in, whether you're in a state that has natural disasters, unfortunately, or if you're in a state that hasn't. It feels like homeowners insurance premiums across the board have increased over the last year. So realize that if you are really tight on your budget and maybe you close on your house today, that payment feels comfortable for you, there could be an increase to the homeowner's insurance or the property taxes in subsequent years. Now, beyond the mortgage payment, utilities, so gas, electricity. If you're purchasing a resale house, one thing that people don't realize is you can actually go to the utility company and get a history of what the payment for those things are. I highly recommend that for people that are first-time home buyers or are really budget conscious. Factor that into your overall budget. I'm here in Arizona, and if you are purchasing, let's say, a 2-story home in Arizona, and maybe it's an older home, i.e. not as energy efficient as maybe newer homes, it would be important to get a history on the cost of the energy bill for that type of dwelling, just to be sure that you don't have any unexpected surprises after you've already purchased the home. I mentioned it earlier, but HOA fees, these are also fees that can go up. They generally don't go down in my experience. But what are the HOA fees if you're purchasing in a community that has HOAs? Also, if you're purchasing a condo or a townhouse, sometimes those HOAs have community calls, meaning that maybe there's something that needs to happen in the community. And so they may surcharge, in addition to your HOA fee, just a cost that each homeowner will participate in to ensure that they have the funds for whatever work that needs to be done. So you can always talk to the HOA. You get a history on if that's ever happened in the HOA management of that particular property, etc. Another thing to keep in mind, and this is going to vary depending on location and square footage and type of dwelling, but it's just going to be ongoing maintenance costs. What do we mean by that? It could be anything from landscaping, pool, a spa, paint, these are things that your home will need to be maintained over time to ensure that it stays in a good condition, not only for you to enjoy, but certainly for resale. So depending on the weather, wherever you are purchasing the home, sometimes weather does impact things like paint and stucco. And if you're close to the water, it could be rust. So just realize that there's going to need to be some money set aside just to maintain the property itself. Now, if you are a first-time home buyer, I highly recommend to go through your budget and realize that when a home lender is qualifying you for the home loan, they are calculating into what we call your debt to income ratio. And essentially, that's going to be your income divided by your monthly expenses, including your new house payment. So what's included in that? That would be the house payment, the HOA fee, any vehicle payments, student loans, child support, alimony if you're paying it, spousal maintenance, credit card payments. All of that gets calculated into a debt ratio. If you are on a payment plan with the IRS, that gets included as well. But the things that don't get included into that qualifying process with a home lender are things such as food and gas for your vehicle and diapers and daycare. These things are what we know are basic living essentials and basic living needs that we have to pay for. So I highly recommend, especially for first-time home buyers, to kind of write out that monthly budget. Where are you spending money? Where can you cut out if you're on a tight budget? Making sure that you're not cutting it too close, especially if you have daycare costs. I mean, those can really impact your overall budget. So get it mapped out, and then you're going to feel confident and empowered to go through this process and know that you can pay your monthly living expenses in addition to the cost of the house. Also, I think if you can, if you're in a position, set up an emergency fund. And by that, I mean, if you can set aside 6 months of your living expenses, including your house payment, oh my gosh, I mean, that way you know that if something happens, maybe your car breaks and it's an unexpected expense and you've got to pay for the mechanic to fix the car so you can get to work to make money. If you've got a little bit of a buffer there, if it can be 6 months, great. If it's 2 months, it's 2 months. But at least you've got a little bit of breathing room there. It goes into a savings account that you don't touch, and it's just there for a rainy day. And my final tip is, if you are new to purchasing real estate and you're a first-time home buyer, seek the advice of a professional real estate agent. I think that with all of the craziness that's been in the media over the last year or two, some people think that they don't need a real estate agent. And I will tell you, I have been in this space for 30 years. I can never see myself not utilizing a real estate agent to buy or sell a home simply because I see the value they bring every day, whether that's with contract negotiations, whether that's with insight into what's going on in particular communities, etc. There is value there. And lastly, if you are going to be financing that home purchase, talk to an experienced lender, somebody that is going to listen to what your financing goals are and be there for you as a resource as you move through that home buying journey. There are a lot of ups and downs when you're buying a home, and it feels very emotional. Just know that when you've got the support of a professional real estate and mortgage lender, you are going to feel so much better and empowered as you move through the process. If we can be of any service to you, we lend in 45 states. We'd be happy to chat with you about what your financing goals are. You can reach us at 480-725-0150. You can call or text that number. We'll talk to you soon.